Well, how's it going, guys? I hear echo. I think it's
Am
your.
I echoing again?
You see, I don't hear echoing now. Do you hear echoing, Charlie, when Bob's off?
No.
No. Yeah, but
Okay, try that. One, two.
your computer has the echo.
It can't have the echo. I have nothing else on. Hold on. Now, how about now?
I don't hear an echo.
I don't hear it now. I don't hear it now.
I'm gonna say something, guys. I'm not bullshitting, but we had a shift. Everyone says it. Bullshit. Whatever. We had something happen, and right after it happened, I've noticed everybody's having problems with their computer. It's like the fucking G networks are bad. Even with other sites, I've been doing stuff, and it's been having scratchy, weird background. Nothing as it was. Everything's a little bit bad.
There's been other shows on earlier that's been having YouTube issues. People couldn't update their settings and stuff, and in few places, even like Netflix in the UK and the United States, they're being overflowed. So things are slowing down. And
everybody's on the computer because of the corona. Everyone's in their house on the computer.
Well, also, Comcast has gave everybody unlimited data too, so there's a lot of overflowing, and depending on where you live, is worse than others. Because there's one other show I was talking about. They think the cable companies are lying about this. I go, no, they're not lying about this, because there's certain areas that they have more fiber versus not having a lot of fiber. So some areas are faster than others. I mean, it's just depending on how old your cable system is. So that is not a conspiracy. Yeah. I was watching one show, like, there's a conspiracy. They're trying to show it all down. No, I worked in a cable company for 15, 20 years. There's a lot of areas that only runs off 500 megahertz versus 1,000. So there is a lot of bad cable systems out there that's not fully upgraded. So more areas are compact versus your area. But now, all because your area is good, Seattle's rich with fiber, but it doesn't mean that the server that you're using, like maybe StreamYard, where they're at, where their hubs are, they could be in a almost like a non, fiber kind of area, which I doubt it, but guys, you know what? I went to
Poor Charlie's like, my turn, god damn it, shut up, Eric. Go ahead, Charlie.
Shut up. No, I'm just kidding. I don't it's honestly it's just a little bit of like, I do a lot of my video uploads from my phone, and I actually have had it upload a lot faster than I'm used to, which is weird. I don't know if they're rolling out 5G already over here. But
maybe because they opened up bandwidth, maybe because they did open up the unlimited and stuff, and in the UK, I know the UK Netflix has dropped 25% of their data rates, so people can actually watch more streaming stuff because the amount of people that are on it right now. So guys, I think everybody knows for BZ, the truth is on here, and he's very he does a lot of shows on near-death experience and a lot of fun stuff like that. And I thought it'd be fun if he jumped on, because the show, the title speaks for itself, right? The resurrection, and the near-death experience. Because I'm always curious if they're the same or not. Because let me share this real quick. So this is what I gather what the resurrection stands for, according to what's in the Bible. So let me see if you guys can see this. Okay.
Like resuscitation.
Okay, so what is, let me see, make sure that it's on there. Okay. So what is a near-death, not that one. I'm on the wrong one. No, there it is. I'm on the wrong. My fault. What is the resurrection? In the Bible, the word translated as resurrection comes from a Greek, which means raising up or standing up again. A person who is resurrected is raised up from the death and restored to life as a person he was before. Although the word resurrection is not in the Hebrew scriptures, often called the Old Testament, the teaching appears there. Though the prophet Hosea, however you say, I don't know, the example God promised, from the power of the grave, I will redeem them, from death, I will recover. And there's some stuff in here that talks about where will people be resurrected. Some people are resurrected to life in heaven to rule as king with Christ. Let me ask you guys this. It says you can be resurrected in life in heaven to rule as kings and Christ. But first of all, technically, when you die, if you believe in heaven and hell, if you're going to heaven anyway, why would that even be considered a resurrected if you're going to heaven anyway?
Gosh, this is a kind of a vast, like starting from the beginning, and I feel like I'm echoing bad. I don't know if that's me. Can you hear me? Echo?
Yeah, you sound good. I don't hear an echo.
Oh, I wonder if I'm feeding back on myself here. Anyways, I'll just try to. If you can't hear it, then I'm probably gonna just have to.
You're doing fine.
But anyways,
you're doing fine.
So yeah, I've been kind of playing with a lot of theories as far as near-death experiences are concerned. I mean, there's a lot of people that come back saying that there's reincarnation, that there's the Bible doesn't necessarily depict reincarnation. So I mean, there's a lot of ways to consider this, and I've been kind of putting this video together about near-death experiences and how vastly unique every experience is, and there are patterns though that kind of point to, like, some people will say that like there is reincarnation, and then other people will say that when we die we go to heaven or hell. And gosh, I'm kind of taking a rabbit trail here, but you were kind of saying that as far as a resurrection, kind of reiterate a little bit about with a point that you were trying to get to.
Did you say erection or resurrection?
Well, okay. So resurrection is basically, in simple terms, right? You're coming back to life. You died, you come back to life. Now, sometimes, yeah, there is an echo. Let me see if it's me. Hold on.
I'm not talking.
No.
It was me originally, guys.
People in the chat, do you guys hear an echo? Let me know. So if you technically have died and you come back and they call that a resurrection, and some people had a near-death experience where maybe their heart stopped and they did die and they come back and they saw something. Technically, isn't that the same? Is it resurrection?
Yeah.
Considered the
same? We've got all kinds of issues. We just discussed this too. It's funny. We talked about this before it even came out. To add into that one, guys, we talked about how since I think we had a shift, since the last shift, we've had nothing but technical problems. Everybody on YouTube's having issues. Not just us, everybody. It's been like a full-blown blast, backlash against, I don't know if it's the Autobots or whatever the fuck it is, but yeah, we have problems.
I know, it is what it is, right?
They'll come back.
So what do you think, Bob? Do you think resurrection is technically almost the same as near-death experience? Because if you die, you come back, right?
Yeah, I don't fucking die. So yeah. I think so.
And then okay, like YouTube is going nuts. I mean, Mike is right. I mean, it is. There's been a lot of issues. Because also you got to remember, YouTube has half of the workers. YouTube actually also has a lot of half of the workers home. So
Cheers, Charlie.
Sorry about that.
Here it is. Just now, I couldn't chat. The chat went down. So even the chat's been going down today. So what I was asking Charlie is resurrection, you die, you come back. If you had a near-death experience where maybe your heart did stop, you were actually considered dead, but they got you back, aren't those then? Technically, resurrection, near-death experience could be almost the same?
Okay, so this is a pretty wide debate across the researchers of near-death experiences. There's some people that will say that it's a full death experience, so you're like dead. Now, the definition of dead is actually, it varies from one person to the next as far as the experts are concerned. There's a lot of people that will say that the heart stopping isn't necessarily death.
Correct.
That it's the brainwave stop. So, anyways, I'm very distracted. I'm like feeling this echo thing is like crazy right now.
Yeah, even
no, it's supposed to bother you.
The echo's bad.
It's supposed to bother you. Everything. If you guys notice, a lot of you people are getting irritated. Within the last few days, I've seen mass irritation, myself included, as myself was number one. Things on the internet, things in your life. You might have lost a set of keys you can't fucking find. Something's broken in your house. Kids are too loud. I see a lot. I got last minute. This is just me being hypothetical. Nothing I say is true, so disregard it. But it seems to be a last minute dark push to get people like really antsy at each other. Maybe it's the answer of having everybody locked up together. Maybe they'll kill each other as this irritation thing starts moving forward. I'm just saying people that I've met independently as an anthropologist, like taking notes, completely non-biased. People have been irritated. Just random strangers are arguing for no reasons. It's so weird as the smallest things. People are becoming irritated. So the glitchings, even with the YouTube, with the feedback, when there's no reason for it, guys. We all did an audio check before we came on, and as we started, it starts doing it all over. But
yeah, they are saying that, Bob. They are saying you sound good.
I look good, and I sound good.
Now, Bob, you studied the Bible, correct? You read the Bible, correct?
No, I didn't study the Bible. I studied the mythology, but I include the Bible in mythology.
Okay, so
no disrespect, people.
Well, hold on, I gotta ask you a question about that. Do you look at mythology like it's not a reliable source of information? Like it's like it's a false story? Okay,
absolutely not. Good call, man. No, good question, dude. Very, very good question. No, mythology, it's the opposite. You start solid with mythology first. Mythology has the answers, and it's a coded answer. Mythology, you start on the top first. It's like you said, it's the opposite. You take it seriously, then you work your way backwards.
Yeah, you know I'm trying to break this thing down in one of my next videos. Is mythology is actually it's considered a tradition of the people that passed down, and it became embellished over time. And so it's a real story, but it's like amplified, I guess you could say. And there's a lot of symbolism or symbolic meaning in these mythologies that even the face value of the mythology isn't necessarily the underlining purpose of the writing. It's actually trying to convey some sort of symbolic meaning that ties into something spiritual potentially. And that's kind of how I look at it.
Because there is no answer. There is no answer to spirituality. It's something you have to experience yourself as an individual. Fuck the churches. You have to individually. You know what I'm talking about, man. Yeah. You got a baby coming, man. I mean, it's a whole fucking new church for you, dude. So my church and your church are different. You got a little bit of a get mama set up because she's and you got a whole fucking church in your house doing a whole new thing.
No, it's funny. It's funny that you put it that way because, as I get to know my 1.5-year-old, I see his little personality coming to life, and it's like, damn, it like freaking hits me like a ton of bricks. Like, this is like a little personality that just, he's coming up with everything on his own. Like so I feel like, even though I'm like teaching him things, I still feel like he has this built-in little personality that it's like I could have never taken credit for any of like what's happening in his development. It's just crazy just to see this little personality come to life, and it's spiritual to me. It feels like I'm connecting with God somehow watching my son grow up.
You are. I mean, you kind of are.
Well, hey, just real quick, let me do a shout out. Tomorrow's show, there's actually a brand new guest that has never been on here before. Named Syngenic Red, along with The Matrix Unveiled, and we're going to be talking about the power of the crystals that's supposedly be in the Matrix. So tomorrow, Matrix Synergetic Red will be on, and we're going to be talking about crystals and whatever is in the Matrix. So that's on tomorrow, just so everybody will know.
So we got near death today, crystals tomorrow. This is badass.
Well, like I said, we can talk about coronavirus for 3-4 hours.
Fuck the virus, man.
There's already a lot of great shows doing that.
Fuck the virus, man.
Let me see here. I found a little story of near death back in the 1300s. Well, let me see here.
A little story about a man you know so. Okay, I thought it was a song. You're going to rap or something.
May 1373. The 30-year-old mother, Joanne.
Tapestry.
What's that?
I did a fucking Mandela thing on Tapestry Saturday. You guys should have saw my Saturday.
Really?
It's on
right here.
I love Tapestry, guys. It's got so many codes. You guys are bored? Just go find Tapestry. Just go find ancient 1500s Tapestry. You're going to have a fucking fun day. Get a little high and chill out and check out Tapestry. You'll have a blast. Eric, zoom in on the Tapestry. Let's see the Tapestry. Let's decode this baby.
So this is Julian of Norwich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Will it zoom in? Click on it. Will it give it its own picture?
No, it won't. It's part of an article. It's something about in which 3 days and nights on the fourth night, I received the last rites of the Holy Church, as it was thought I would not survive until day. After I lingered 2 more days and nights. On the third night, I was quite convinced that I was passing away, as indeed were those about me. But she did not die. Suddenly, all my pain was taken away, and it was as fit and well as I ever been. In the following 5 hours, in a kind of trance, fuck it. I'm gonna ask you this. Fuck that. I don't want to read it. I'm tired of reading. I feel like I'm in school. Bob. So if you read the Bible, whatever, if you study a little bit about it, when Jesus was resurrected, how many days did it take for him to come back to life, and what did he do when he came back to life?
3 days.
3 days.
3 days.
So
watch this.
Why did it take? I'm just asking because I don't know this answer. Why did it take Jesus 3 days to come back? And what did he do in those 3 days before he come back? I mean,
before he resurrected 3 days? Don't forget, it's number one. It's God's number three, right?
Yeah, there's symbolism behind this. Three represents something that is symbolic, and I don't really know what that is off the top of my head. But I've heard people say he went to purgatory or something like that for 3 days, and honestly, that's not. I don't think that's found in the Bible necessarily.
That's a Mandela effect. No, that's actually it's a new thing. Good call for bringing that up, dude. That is fucking brilliant. It is a Mandela effect for a lot of us. I've never heard of his stories to prison. I can't. Don't quote me. He went to, like you said, purgatory. You're correct.
Trinity equals 3.
3 days to purgatory, which was not in my time. However, you're correct. In this time, it is, and I've heard about that. And so there's the 3 days right there. 3 days of suffrage or seeing suffrage. Now, I don't know that part of the Bible because I've never heard of it before. But we got to remember 3 was also with Jonah. Now, you guys, what happened to Jonah?
Yeah. He went into the belly of the fish. Honestly, I kind of look at it like death and resurrection is a transformation. And
how many days?
What's that? 3 days, yeah.
There you go. There it is, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm beginning to think that 3 is just a symbol or a number to represent transformation. And again, don't quote me on that. I'm just realizing that there's more and more things about the Bible as I kind of dig deeper. Now, I gotta preface. I have been studying the Bible since I was a kid because I was raised in the Christian church, and but as I have kind of ventured outside of my, the lines of or the box of my religious upbringing, I came to realize that. Yeah. There is a lot.
Jesus said to do that, you're supposed to go outside your doctrine and learn new stuff. He did correct.
Yeah, I realized that if you actually start looking through like an Eastern philosophy filter, it actually changes like the perspective a little bit. And you have to consider other angles to help you interpret what the words are actually saying. And you know, a lot of people don't consider that the Hebrew tradition, you know, when they were writing the words of the Bible, actually had a lot of idioms and things like that that were related to their time. It wasn't necessarily related to anything we were exposed to. So we have to factor in all those things with interpretation. And so honestly, I'm starting to realize that this whole thing about, like, you know, Jesus being 33, it's like that really bothered me when I when I heard that he was 33 when he went through a transformation. That sounds a lot like, you know, the freaking Illuminati or something. You know what I mean? So,
you know, here's the thing. You're correct, because being the nerd that I am, I actually wanted to figure out the Bible a little bit more in this timeline, guys. Now, remember, I'm not from here. I'm not sure if you guys, whatever you guys remember, but I wanted to figure out I wanted to figure it out. I'm doing science, goddammit. So I've got all the information here, guys. I know who rewrote the Bible in Britain, because everybody in America, and most people have the King James version, whatever. It's the New English rewrite. That was not the first, guys. Guess what? I found out that was not the first rewrite from the Catholicism version. By God, there's two more before that. So you have a combination of three writers.
So you're talking about the canon of the scriptures. So like the King James canon.
No, these are individual. These are in the canons. These are the Bible that's already been done at the church. It's at the Catholic Church. All they're doing is translating into English. That's it. They're just retranslating the Bible into English. Remember when King James broke away? So King James broke away from the Catholicism faith, whatever church. He wanted to get divorced. That's all he wanted. If he fuck the Catholics, I'll be the king or whatever. So he rewrote the book. So they have the King James version. But before the King James version, we had, hold on, I wrote it down here. We got what's called, where we are. Oh, it's called the Great Bible. So before King James version, we had the Great Bible. And before the Great Bible, the Bible was called the Thomas Matthew Bible. So the King James Bible was in fact the Thomas Matthew Bible, and this is back in 1539, about 1530s. It was the Thomas Matthew Bible, and then in 1540 it was called the Great Bible, and then continuing down all the way down to the 1600s. That's when old King James got a hold of it. In 1611, he rewrote it, and that's when I found all the information, all the new stuff that's now in the Bible, all the new things. I found all the stuff where it's coming from. So I'm looking for the history of all the rewrites. Why is there corn in the Bible? I know why there's corn in the Bible now. I found it. Columbus went. Corn, yeah, there's corn in the Bible now. They never had corn, they had wheat. Remember wheat? They have corn. So separate the corn from the corn, I guess. I don't know. So
I need to put a link for a Bible in the chat.
Where would it come from? Because Columbus made his way to the Americas in 1498. So he brought back corn. He brought back corn seed to grow in England. He brought back corn to grow all over the areas. So in the 1500s, they were growing corn. So homies that wrote it, and I got their names here. The guy's name is, two guys wrote it. Tyndale, and the other guy his name was Coverdale. They collabed to write the Bible, to make the Thomas Matthew Bible in 1535. And guess what they had at the court at that time? Corn. They wrote corn in the Bible. Okay. So a lot of the things were written in the Bible at that time.
Now, Bob, what is this here? 1684, Vatican removed 14 books from Bible.
I can attest to that. Now, the Vatican, I don't know. There's books in there's extra biblical, like apocrypha books that are in the Catholic Bible today, and you wouldn't find it in the Protestant Bible. There's things now in the Ethiopian Bible has like the Book of Enoch, and that's actually gaining popularity now. as far as extra biblical. Yeah. So that talks a lot about like the fallen angels and basically the thing that ties into the whole story, the Anunnaki, and the fallen, the Nephilim or whatever. I'm like a huge fan of the whole storyline of like the Titans, giants, the Nephilim, whatever. I mean, all that shit ties together, and it's so interesting to me that it's not just the Bible saying it. There's all kinds of different perspectives coming from different cultures saying the same flip thing. So
Immaculate Conception. Immaculate Conception. Remember, Zarathustra, Immaculate Conception. Anybody's anybody. Immaculate Conception. Three. It takes the whole Immaculate Conception thing. Go ahead, dude. But you're correct. I'm just agreeing with you.
So awesome. What are you talking about the Immaculate Conception? I know that. See, this is another thing that reminds me of like a parable of some kind, like the whole concept of Jesus being born to a virgin, and it sounds like a freaking mythology story.
It is.
I'm not.
It's Zeus.
All my.
Zeus. Go ahead.
I think that story is fake. Flat out.
No
man's going to marry a woman and not have sex, especially in that time of life, right there. I'm sorry.
They didn't have sex with a man. They didn't have sex with a man. They had sex with a bull or a snake or
they had sex with
talons. They had sex with an animal.
So okay, I'll tell you this though. There's a lot of whenever you hear about like alien abductions and stuff, how they're like tampering with like semen and freaking the ovum of the egg are coming out of a woman. So they're playing with some sort of reproduction type stuff, and they're making hybrid humans, and tied in with the genes of these extra. See, I don't even want to call them extraterrestrials. I just think they belong here, and they've always been here. Interdimensionals, exactly. Yeah. So I think that that could actually explain a little bit about the Immaculate Conception. If there's some sort of intelligent beings that, the Watchers, quote unquote, that might have, and this is venturing outside of my realm of belief, so to speak. And I just play with the idea of possibilities. I always weigh the possibilities of different things. It doesn't matter if I don't believe it or not. I will consider things for what they are. And it sounds to me like that story is mythology. And so does like, Adam and Eve and things like that. Yeah. Or Noah's Ark or whatever. So.
Well, somebody put snake at the bottom. I know Mike down there. Nacho put snake with a big laughter. He's correct to laugh. But Zeus came to Alexander the Great's mother as a snake. So Alexander's mother was watched 24/7 when her husband was on campaign. So she can't have another man sneak in. Nobody can sneak in. There are guards surrounding his wife 24/7 when he's on campaign. So they said the only thing they reported she did one night was she was laying with a large snake all the time. She was getting off on a snake. That was what they told the king. In other words, I don't know, but it was a snake reported by the soldiers reported to Alexander's father, the king, on campaign that no man has touched your wife. No man has violated your wife. Your wife, however, has been
another man. I just touched the snake.
She had been laying with doing whatever with a snake. That's what they reported. So anyway, he had his night. Blah blah blah. He goes back and she's pregnant. She's pregnant now.
What about a shape shift?
The myth is.
Hold on, I got.
Maybe it's an animal to have sex that way.
I gotta elaborate on this a little bit because I've been really looking into the reptilian thing lately. So basically, not the Anunnaki necessarily, but the Archons. There's like these reptilian creatures that basically are outside of our realm, pulling strings and trying to control things, and that kind of struck me as. And I'll just say that this ties into near-death experiences because this guy, Brian Melvin, that I interviewed, he had a hell experience where he basically went to the throne of and was judged by Jesus, and he's like, "You're gonna go to hell," and he's like, "All right, dude, that makes sense." So he ended up descending into hell and meeting these reptilian creatures that were manifesting as like family and friends. So
sounds like
the thing is, what's that?
No, it's reminding me of the movie Little Nicky going to hell, rocking out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I love
yeah.
I love that movie.
Anyways, the point is, he agreed with the judgment, and he was like, I deserve to go to hell. I freaking mocked God or whatever all my life, and so the thought of you sending me to hell makes sense, I guess. But anyways, but he ended up seeing these friends and family down in hell, basically, and they were like creating a scenario, kind of like the holodeck on the Star Trek or something.
Nice.
You know, like they were in this pod kind of thing, where they were actually showing like a certain reality, like deceiving them kind of thing, and trying to make them think they were in paradise. And well, he ended up realizing that these people that were manifesting as family were actually reptilian creatures, and they were trying to deceive him. And that, to me, I've been really trying to research this a lot, because it's not just coming from this near-death experience story. I've been hearing a lot from like all kinds of different like people talking about reptilian creatures ruling our realm and stuff like that. Who's that English guy? I can't remember his name. That always talks about reptilians.
All the
damn it,
fake ass. I hate him with a. You know who? David Icke. David Icke. Right?
That's the guy that I'm talking about. Yep.
Him. The man to me is a reptile. I've debunked all of his shit. He's an RH negative.
But what is this comment? What was the snake before God cursed it to it? I'm sorry. What was snake before God cursed it to crawl in its stomach the rest of its life?
Oh yeah, he wasn't a snake first. He was something else.
A dragon.
Good question. I forgot. Honestly, there was something else before he.
There's something.
So I guess everybody hates David Icke
in the story.
Well, you know, like anyway, the reptilian. David Icke is an RHO negative. He himself is calling other people that are RH negatives lizards. He won't tell nobody his blood type because then he's a lizard too. He's contradicting everything he says because he is related to the royal family. The motherfucker is a liar. Now, I went to go see his shit up here, an investigation up here. He was on an island. It was called the Island of Man. Now, I talked to a lot of locals. They said, yeah, David Icke's on the Isle of Man. I want to do some anthropology. So I went out there and found out it was also a World War II internment camp for Britain. It was British's internment camp. Nobody knew they had an internment camp. They didn't have it in our timeline. But on this Island of Man, this mysterious island, they had an internment camp also for all these refugees coming over, in fact, a lot of people came through Operation Paperclip, came through Island of Man to get to the United States. Anyway, long story over that one. But I wanted to go see him, but it turns out all of a sudden it was a big fucking weird shift or something happened. Now he's on the Island of White. Like, Island of White. So he's on the Island of White now. Another new island I never knew existed in Britain. It just popped up. They also had Woodstock Part 2 on that island, and nobody knows about it. You guys ever heard of Woodstock on Island of White? Yeah, there was a Woodstock there. Big, massive back in the 60s or whatever, 70s things. Never existed in my time. But the cocksucker is a liar because he went to Africa. He said he was struck by something and died. And then he himself became Jesus. And then he made a talk show host tour about him calling himself Jesus. He's calling himself the resurrection.
This is David Icke?
This is David Icke, guys. I did a whole full investigation on him. Look, do your research. You'll see what I'm saying is true. Homie, there's even talk shows he's still on that he hides from them, but he says, yes, I'm Jesus on the talk shows. But then all of a sudden he loses all that. He goes away. He comes back, rewritten by the fucking royal family, the part of their conspiracy thing. He comes back and now calling all the royal family lizards. He himself is related and RH negative. So he's a liar.
This reminds me of like people that say they're Jesus. Christ consciousness is becoming a very popular perspective. Like basically, the symbology of a people being like a temple. So we have the capacity to hold the God's consciousness, you might say, in the temple of our being. And
Yeah.
so they liken so if you ever read the story in Revelation, it talks about each person is given a white stone, and it refers to Jesus as the cornerstone, and that's those stones come together to build a temple, which is known as the New Jerusalem. And the weird thing to me about that is that we are a stone like Jesus is a stone, and if we have the same capacity that Jesus has, says that we are like Jesus in our capacity, or have the potential to be like Jesus in Christ consciousness, so to speak. And so this is something I've been experimenting or exploring with lately, trying to understand what the Bible actually wants to convey, because I feel like a lot of people have knee-jerk reactions, knee-jerk thoughts about the Bible based on religion or based on church and things like that. I honestly think that it's trying to send a different message than what the church is conveying. It's all tradition and freaking BS. And
yes,
so,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you 100%. Yeah.
So anybody that tries to dismiss the Bible, like, oh man, I grew up in church and the Bible's full of shit or whatever, and it's like, well, hold on.
Yeah,
are you representing your church? Are you representing the church that was conveying the false interpretation? Are you talking about the Bible? And again, these are the things that I consider the Bible like anybody that has some sort of spiritual intuition is that temple that I was talking about. I feel like everybody has a temple, whether it's filled with something or not. And
well, Jesus never came
so
out and
I
said
think that
Jesus didn't say he was a god. Jesus said he was a king. You see, what people don't understand is that the Roman Empire removed all monarchy from fucking Jerusalem. There was no monarchy. He was in the line of David. So homeboy was, in fact, 100% in the line of. So he was like, I'm a king and the son of God, by the way.
Well,
but by the way,
I
king.
kind of disagree that Jesus didn't come across as God. I mean, he says that I and my Father are one, and he talks about basically being on the same level as God. That's the reason he got put to death. Was he said that he says I am. He basically said I am God. So anyways, so I know for sure that so what he's saying though is that he said Hebrew. I believe that I believe that God works through him, and so like God has he is an extension of God, so to speak. So like a conduit, you might say. And I believe anybody can be a conduit of God. So
absolutely.
And
you mean
it even says in the Bible
I could be a conduit?
What's that?
Me? I could be a conduit for him?
But you have to have electrical continuity. You can't just not play the game, I guess you could say. So like how electricity has like copper and different like elements that are electrically speaking have continuity or whatever. So like but there's resistance also, so you can resist the energy of God. So I believe that that's kind of how that one guy, what's his name? Damn it. The one that always talks about the alternate theory of like field light theory. What, Thoriapoposis or something like that. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, Dr. Bukaki?
Bukaki. His channel is called Thoriapoposis or something like that. It's like a Latin word. Anyways, he talks about field theory, which is basically saying that anything that interacts with a field is either resistance or electrically stimulated. So say for instance, it's all based on magnetism and electromagnetic whatever. Right? It's not traveling photons. It's called field theory or light stimulation or something like that. It's stimulating and emitting wave probations or something like that. It's freaking crazy.
No, it makes sense.
Have you guys heard about that?
Well, yeah. What it is the theory is, okay, I'm going to put it like this in the Mandela effect world. We're from a positive place. Positive. This place is negative. Let's just face it. It's what it is. Positive. This place is negative. My green light was on top, and in this place on the negative side, it's at the bottom. Okay, so it's at the bottom. Mm-hmm. So everything's upside down. So if we were to be people that like magnetics, we are resistant to whatever is on the outside. They can't get inside of us because we're repelling it. You know what I'm saying? We're repelling it. Like two magnets, like you take one side, and here's you on this side, and here's this place, and it won't magnetize. But if you go back home and flip it around, it magnetizes. It sticks. But we're like repelling everything. In theory, we're like that magnet where two pluses can't mix. So we can't get them bad negatives in us. We can't be lied to. We can see the truth. It can't get in us. Like you said, magnetism, we're repelling it. It's like two magnets that can't connect. It's just pushing each other away. So here you are, that magnet, and you're pushing everything away. It can't get inside you. It tries.
So I'm glad we're talking about this because I kind of liken God to the power source or the source of energy that comes from. It has to start somewhere, and God's really the source of energy that comes
let me ask you guys,
into this realm.
Why did God give Jesus the power to resurrect the people on earth? Why did Jesus? According to the Resurrectionist Bible, it says, I'm looking up on Google, it says God gives Jesus the power to be the one to choose the resurrection of people.
You probably did.
Why did God give Jesus the power? I believe that Jesus was willing to. Honestly, I think God gives us instructions, and we have to listen to them and obey. And what source of information do you follow? I think that we are to be good, and we are to, I think that if we are completely resistant to whatever God's telling us to do, that's the resistance that I'm talking about. And I think that Jesus was willing to play a game.
Men gave God the power to give Jesus the power through their writings. Shouldn't that be said? Men and women gave God the power. Why does it have to be men? Are we still sexist?
Well, the power source he has. I mean, he's not no male or female. So, I mean, God's going to be one. Well, God could be whoever God wants to be. I mean, if he comes at you like makes love to women as an animal, and then makes a demigod, then he could be anything he wants. But trees, plants, igloo.
I'm glad that we're talking about this electrical universe type concept because, everybody is energetic beings. We have like electricity going through our bodies. And I believe our spirit or soul or whatever is energetic and electrical in nature. And so whenever you like see ghosts or see some sort of spiritual apparition or something, it's actually like an energy field that is somehow manifesting in a way that we could either see or perceive. And so I believe that anything that interacts with our realm here, like a ghost or a spirit of some kind, is really just an electrical surge of some kind that we can perceive. So I don't know, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Silicone in your phone, silicone, right? It's made of silicone. And you have crystals, which is tomorrow's subject. Crystals, silicone, it stores energy. It stores energy. So when you go to debunk hunting, we debunk. You go in and the first thing you want to do is debunk. So you look around and say, well, this is a fucking stupid place made of wood, blah, blah, blah. But you go into a place that's like a castle, and it's got lots of silica in the walls. A lot of these New Agers will agree. A lots of silica, you're like, oh shit, this fucking place stored energy. It's like it's like silicon in your phone. It stores information. So energy will store in silica. So if you go to a house and a lady dies and she's got a big ass set of fucking crystals next to her bed before she goes, there might be a little bit of her left in it. You know what I mean? It stores information. So like that's one of the things we debunked, but it all seemed to have a lot of silica in places with major hauntings where you see ghosts will walk around like a projector and interact with their environment. Yeah, and I think they've never left. Stored information.
It's the residual energy.
Yeah, residual energy. It's stored information. Literally, this is the same concept of your cell phone. Zeros and ones. Yeah. It's in the wall. If you're made of numbers, right?
That's interesting that you compare it to, like, it's a simulation, comparatively speaking, that somehow that program is still having a residual effect on reality. That's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it is. It's a geo Earth. It's a geo memory. It's an Earth memory. Some people report going down and seeing, like, Eric and I went to Gettysburg. I was hoping to see the ghost. Eric and I had a great time at Gettysburg, hoping to see the actual ghost. We went to the ghost hunts. Eric and I stayed out late to see ghosts at Gettysburg. Now, we are ghost hunters to debunk. So I went out there to see if I could see these mysterious fighting things. And boy, Eric, remember a couple times there was that mist that come down? I think we had somebody, my son was with us, and he's pointing out there's right there. Remember, Eric? Remember Jeremiah was pointing out?
He said he saw something. He did say he saw something.
And we kept trying to figure out where it is. We were out in the field looking, but the mist comes down. And again, the soil
there's so many fireflies out that night. So it's so hard to, like,
everywhere. Thousands of little lights everywhere. We debunked them as fireflies, but I'm sure people in the sidebar are going, now is it really fireflies? No. We don't know.
Like, we assume it was fireflies, then we were invaded by an army of ghosts. I mean, it was
little spirit orbs.
But now we can kind of go back and say, hey, it might have been spirit orbs, dude, if you think about it. We debunked. That's why, but sometimes when you debunk, you lose sight of everything.
Well,
could have been.
I mean, it wasn't really about debunking. I really wanted to see something. I mean, I really did, They had the fireworks going. It sounded like we're really there. Like, it was really wartime, and people were wearing their uniforms. So, we were hoping that because it looked like we're back in that era, that we might see something. Now, like I said, Jeremiah said he saw something, but I can't confirm.
My son, the kid said he's like, right there, he's right there. I don't know if it was a bugler. He saw another bugler kid, or he's like, I think he said it was a bugler kid.
And then, of course, like a bugler. Remember our host? Yeah, everybody's seen that same thing right there. Like, shut the fuck up. Right there. I'm sure everybody's seen the exact same thing where,
Yeah, my son's like, he's right there. He's a little bugler kid. He's a kid holding a bugler. And we're all like, there's thousands of fireflies. He's seeing a firefly. He's seeing the wind. Everybody reports right over there. Yeah, whatever, dude. And my son's like, Dad, he's right there. Okay. He's a kid.
Yeah, but it was fun. What do we know? It was a lot of fun because they told you the real history first, and then you went to the ghost story side. So you actually got to learn some history of what happened in that town.
Yeah, we got to go to some old houses and stuff. But so there's your ghost stuff.
Gettysburg.
Gettysburg, yeah.
When I was living in Maryland, I lived 15 minutes away from Gettysburg, so we went there a lot.
Okay.
So
wow, that's freaking crazy. So like as far as near-death experiences, I mean, there's whenever you see like a body die, it's void of energy, right? That's kind of where you can't measure, brain waves. You don't measure a heartbeat. So basically, electrically speaking, the body is no longer charged with energy. So that's death, in my opinion. So, and I think that honestly, like You were talking about this residual like ghost type soul. I've been hearing a couple different perspectives on like we're not like a three-part entity, like body, soul, and spirit. There's actually like 5 or 6 different sides of our being, and there's I wish I could convey more to you about this, but I've only heard like 2 perspectives on this, and it came kind of from an Eastern near-death experience. And it's funny, like when you have a background in like a certain culture, usually that's how the near-death experience manifests. So your experience is actually kind of coming from your culture, basically, and which might suggest that it's just coming out of your brain or something. But I think that somehow, I think that the body, like is the conduit of the electricity, and we gather information while we're here, I guess you could say. And honestly, I think consciousness transcends the body. I don't think that the brain. So, like, I was talking to Evan Alexander. He's like super famous near-death experience guy, and he does not hold my worldview when it comes to God. He actually, but I take his experience very seriously, because he had something that resembled some sort of mythology in his experience. Like he was like on a butterfly wing, and he was like on a there's a lot of symbols in his near-death experience that kind of flip me out. I think that, so the best way I can liken it to is the movie Interstellar. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan.
So kind of, yeah, kind of like toward the end when he gets sucked into the black hole or whatever, they have this like construct that helped him communicate to his daughter. For anybody that hasn't seen Interstellar, it has a lot of tie-ins to near-death experiences, in my opinion, because basically he went into this timeless reality where he could basically transcend all of the life of his daughter, and he's trying to find a way to communicate to her, and he just so happened to find this watch where it could like twitch like Morse code. So anyways, I thought that it's crazy, because that reminds me, like, and he came to the realization that he was talking to some ascended humans from like millions of years in the future or something like that.
Yeah.
Like in a higher dimensional reality. And I don't know if that's true, but it sounds a lot like a lot of the near-death experiences that I've heard. Is that we're actually communicating with our higher self in our near-death experiences. So we're not necessarily communicating with God, or God is relative to our vantage point, and really we are actually interpreting it from our own viewing lens, and that's based on our perspective in reality. So if you have a culture, you're going to filter everything through your culture. You're going to filter everything through your religion. You're going to filter everything through your experiences. And that's where you get like a lot of the varying perspectives. But sometimes near-death experiences are kind of showing the same kind of patterns, but you're going to interpret it in a way that makes sense to you. And it might sound the same as, say somebody goes up this.
Let me ask you this, because I know you probably have to go back to work in about 5 minutes, right? Because you're on lunch hour, aren't you?
Yeah, if I go over like 5 minutes, it's all right.
Okay.
I think.
With all the interviews you've done with the near-death experience, you've done a lot. With all of them, what's the one thing that it's almost the exact same conversation or evidence they have all said that, like, your number one most evident thing from each interview you've done? Was there one thing that stands out between all of them that something was the same?
Yeah. Okay. I kind of look at it like there's a template that everybody experiences to some degree. Now, basically, I'll give you the rundown of how it happens. Say, the heart stops. the body comes above and can view their own body, and the doctor's working around them trying to resuscitate them, and then they're like, oh shit, I'm out of my body. And then sometimes it's not a reaction like this is unusual. Usually it's like, oh, that's the body that I was in, and they refer to it as like some weird thing. They're like, oh, that's the piece of meat that I was in, or something like that. Yeah. And anyways, they end up just saying, oh, I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna freaking go check some other things out. And that's when they start having an experience that is like outside of this realm. Like say for instance, Pam Reynolds, she had an experience where she was being drawn in by some sort of attraction or magnet. And she said as she was being drawn into that feeling, it felt like she was dropping down a hill. Like she could feel it in her gut. You know how you like when you're driving down a hill, you can feel like that dropping sensation. Well, anyways, but that's how she. And then of course you start seeing people like going up tunnels, seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, and a lot of people would people would liken that to the brain shutting down or whatever. And in all honesty, like Evan Alexander actually says, what's that?
Why don't they see like dancing? I mean, seriously, dude, you're fucking dying, right? And you see it, and they're talking about these beautiful things with the butterflies in the tunnel. And I'm always saying, seriously, when I'm dead, at the end of there's dancing girls. I mean, it's your fucking head, right? You have dancing girls.
And the funny thing about that is like, the Muslim culture talks about having like 1,000 virgins or something like that. It kind of makes me think that a lot of these concepts that come from like the religions, so like heaven and hell and things like that, there's the Republic by Plato, they have this story called the myth of Ur. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but the myth of Ur actually is talking about this dude that freaking went out to battle and he died and he was gone. He was dead for 12 days or something like that. And they were getting ready to torch his body. And then they're like, holy shit, this guy's wake up. So he actually was dead for, a long time. Like there's no way that his body would have survived that. Now he could have been, just out of it and then his body never fully died. Who knows? But he actually had a near-death experience.
He had a whole lot of
he actually went to what's that?
Blowfish meat.
What about this JoJo? What he said? I think we see what we believe in. I mean, that can be it, right?
You can eat blowfish, and it'll knock you out for a long time. You like you're dead, like this. You can't move. So if somebody ate blowfish and they ate the wrong stuff, it looked like that's what they use to make zombies in God, those islands. They make zombies. They use blowfish serum. Yeah, that's why they make zombies. They put them in a coffin and they bury them, and they can't move for like several days. But of course, if they don't die from that, they don't die because they have not drinking or eaten food. They come back as zombies because they've been in the ground for a long time, but they actually were never dead. It lowers your metabolism down to the point where you're dead. Even like people had they'd like, oh, this person is dead. Next, and the person's not dead.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah. So maybe the 17 like.
Now, doctors. Let me say this. Now, doctors claim that the light that you see is in the operation room. You're seeing a light that's above you. I mean, that's what doctors.
That's the bright light.
Light comes from. I'm not playing devil's advocate, but that's what they're saying is people say they see the light, but what they're actually seeing is part of the image is they're seeing that light above them during the operation.
Well, I like his inner space concept. That's
I'm just bringing that out there.
I gotta dispel that because the thing is people will see their body from like up on top of the ceiling, right? And the light is not in their face; it's actually up on the ceiling, right?
Okay.
Now and then they turn their attention away from their body. That's when they actually see the light, and the light has nothing to do with the doctor's light coming from the actual light itself, the lamp. But dude, the crazy. Okay, so Eben Alexander was saying that because we were talking about DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and so he was basically saying how DMT is a natural occurring chemical in the brain when you die, but he says it has nothing to do with the experience. So whenever you actually have the trip that comes from DMT, really is just turning off. Is basically your brain is what causes you to not actually have consciousness. It's a resistance, I guess you could say. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, that does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, anyways,
yeah. No,
Mike's
that
saying you're breaking
what's up, Eileen?
Hey, Charlie, I've been listening to you. Great show, guys. I'm going to sub to you as soon as you guys are off. I just wanted to share with Charlie my 2 death experiences.
Real quick, Eileen. Charlie's
Yeah.
actually having a show tomorrow night at 7:15 Mountain Time or Pacific Time.
That would actually be Pacific time. I think it's 8:15 Mountain Time.
Okay.
And now there's something special about his show tomorrow night. Something very, very special. I'm on it.
I need to be there. She'll be there. She'll be
All right,
there.
Eileen, I'm sorry, Eileen.
Yeah.
Before you go, I want people to know he's having a show tomorrow night. All right, go for it, Eileen.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I will be there. I will find
You
you.
guys freaking came over. Heck yeah.
We're near deathers.
Yeah.
We're all
So,
near deathers.
like when I was 5, I had an allergic reaction to penicillin, and I just fainted. Everything went dark, and I woke up in the hospital and had no memory of anything happening in between falling down in the hallway and waking up in the hospital. And my cord was still attached. I was like in a kind of coma, but not a coma, but I wasn't dead. I just wasn't consciously in my
What
body.
she means when she's talking about the cord?
And then
the cord is actually something very common in near-death experiences, and it's actually found in the Bible as well. And Ecclesiastes talks about the cord that is still attached to you.
Yeah,
Now, when I was 17, I lived in Egypt, and I had anaphylaxis to a diphtheria tetanus shot. And again, everything went completely black, and the cord got cut instantly. No blood pressure, I flatlined, no breath, no heartbeat. So it was a good 10 to 15 minute process of resuscitation. And during that whole process, I floated just under the ceiling and watched the whole resuscitation process through kind of like a brown fog. But I could see the people and what they were doing. But I didn't know that was me on the table. I didn't know my dad was standing at the head of the table, stroking my face, saying, "Wake up, talk to me." And I didn't know who the doctors and nurses were or where they were. I felt no pain, no fear at all, but I had no attachment to the person who was dead. None whatsoever. And I went back into my body and woke up as me again, fully aware of who I was. But I never saw the light, the bells, the music, Jesus, angels, dead grandparents. Never got that far.
You just had an out-of-body experience, or you see your body, but you didn't go to any spiritual realm or anything like that?
No, but I was flatlined. The body was dead while I was hanging on the ceiling watching it.
Yeah,
so when I have OBEs, I get to leave the room. I get to go out of the house. You can go to any country. You can basically leave the planet. You know, it was so different to an out-of-body experience while you're cord.
Yeah, astral projection. I actually I don't know how to go about doing that, but I'm intrigued by the topic. Astral projection. Interesting. No, it's kind of hit and miss. I've noticed with I probably read or listened to about 400 near-death experiences, and I've talked to a good handful of pretty prominent near-death experiences, like Howard Storm, Eben Alexander. If you actually Google any of those names, those are pretty famous experiencers, I guess. But anyways, I'm determined to get down to the bottom of this, because I feel like there's a lot of clues that you have in near-death experiences that kind of shine light on this reality. But again, I feel like each person has their own vantage point when it comes to an experience, and really the experience is for that person. So like in your case, Eileen, I believe that what you saw was for you and you alone. And we can, gain certain knowledge or wisdom from what you went through. I mean, clearly people have out-of-body experiences and they can see what's happening around the body. And you say that you didn't really have an attachment to your body, which is actually fairly common. It's kind of hit and miss. Like some people have an understanding that is their body and other people don't. So, Howard Stern was a guy that actually, he saw his body, he knew it was his body, but he couldn't believe that he was looking at himself. He was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? That's my body down there. And
he went back,
but
he resurrected.
The best book I found on it, Charlie, is by PMH Atwater. It's called Near-Death Experience, The Rest of the Story. And she's been researching the near-death experience for 40 years. And in that book, she compiles the research of 4,000 interviews of men, women, and children all over the world to compare their near-death or death experiences to see what's the commonality. What do they all share in common? Because like you said, it's so individual based on your religion, your beliefs, everything.
Yeah, it's funny, like growing up in the Christian church, they're very selective in the experiences that they like to, put out there. Like Ian McCormick is a guy that I always thought, like, wow, that guy had a great experience. He met Jesus. He was being soaked in this like perfect love, and he got this amazing message, like he needs to go back and share the love of Jesus to the world, and then he got back and he started sharing the love of Jesus to everybody. But why does the next guy that has an Eastern experience where like he just joined the freaking spirit cloud up and I mean, there's so many different experiences that are not related to Jesus. It's like that's the minority in my opinion. So it's like, people see their family members more often. People
my sister was in a coma.
Experiences.
My sister was in a coma in her 50s for 3 weeks, and she actually went to that beautiful place like shown in movies that people call as like heaven.
Yeah.
And she met my grandma who had died like 10 or 20 years earlier. And my grandma said to her, you can go back or you can stay with me. And the next thing she remembers, she opened her eyes in the ICU unit on a ventilator, breathing for her. And she thought it was the same day that she went in, which was Christmas Eve, but 3 weeks had passed. Yeah.
Yep. No, this goes outside of time. And, his daughter was like 50 years older when he got back. And it's like, and it's true.
I love that movie.
Experiences, it goes both ways. Sometimes you'll have an experience and it feels like you were gone for 1,000 years. And then the next guy will come back in 5 minutes and it will be 3 weeks or a month. So it's like there's no time when you go to have these experiences. And,
look at all the people in the chat room who have had these experiences.
Yeah.
Like Robert said earlier, Mandela affected people have lots of NDEs.
They all do.
Yeah,
They're all
I've been
dead.
reading a lot of these.
For anybody that has had near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences or astral projection or anything spiritually speaking, I mean, I talk about this stuff all the time. In fact, that's the majority of what I talk about, is this kind of stuff. I mean, I talk about flat Earth here and there. I talk about matrix simulation here and there. But I honestly think that there's implications to pursuing, this spiritual knowledge. And if we sit on our hands and do nothing and don't pursue this knowledge or understanding, I think that we're squandering the time that we have on this earth. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Because we don't have a yellow sun no more. We got that white one. That's probably the white spot, or what they call it, the white light. Since it's not a yellow sun, maybe it's the white light. And we're all dead.
Yeah, that could be. That could be, Robert.
I'm gonna fly up to it right now.
You know,
I'm gonna fly out of here. The Matrix.
You know what? You know what's really weird is, and will mess with your head. You know, when we die, we might wake up to the reality that we're actually having a near-death experience.
I know.
We might be having a near-death experience right now in this life.
That's true, because there's no time, and you feel like you've been away. Yeah, this could be our near-death experience, and we're all going to wake up back in our bodies, and it's going to be like 2012, and the Mayan calendar is going to end.
No.
And then we'll just chalk it up to the Mandela effect.
Sometimes I think about that because I flew out of a car as a baby, flew through a window. Now I lived, but did I live? Am I here right now as part of a near-death experience, and I'm going to go back to the baby and actually die? I'm living a life, but it's not really my life. It's what could have been.
Yeah, I always tell people about that same philosophy about you're dead, right? I always say you're dead. They're like, oh, cool, man. That's why I have the Mandela effect. I can feel this and that. Then I kick them really hard on the fucking Jimmy, and they hit the ground. I say, dude, but you're dead, though. But your balls still fucking hurt. Oh, no, I guess you still have to feel alive.
That's a bastard right there. They didn't even go that far.
That's a good test, Robert, because my sister, me, and everybody I've read about, in the 4,000 people reporting their story, they can't feel any pain when they're on the other side. There's no pain.
So you're saying if somebody telling me they just died, I should kick them in the nuts and just to see if they're telling me the truth?
I always check people like that. That's how I check them.
Hold on.
I said, I watched your video and you said that everyone's dead. So I just want to let you thank you for letting me know that I'm dead. I'm not afraid of life anymore. I can do what I want. Then I kick him in the Jimmy. I said, remember that.
Oh, yeah. That'll bring him back to life fast.
Back to reality.
Well, here's one guy that said, Patrick said his first near-death experience, he wasn't afraid of death. Now, his second one, me being afraid of death. So in the second one, something changed where he became afraid of death.
Interesting. I became not afraid of death.
I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you know, I have to get back to work, but Eileen, I want to unpack some of this stuff with you sometime. I'm trying to do some more live streams, so
cool.
Anybody that is on this stream and is interested in some of this stuff, I mean, I think that this is kind of the road I'm traveling down. So if anybody wants to join me on that,
it's a fun topic.
All right, guys, I gotta peace out. So.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one today, okay?
Okay. Go. Have a wonderful day.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Bye. I love his philosophy.
I love your whether you're dead or alive test, but I mean, does it work for women?
Oh yeah. You have to slap them in the face. But when you do that, you gotta wear a wife beater tank top with stains on it because it makes it acceptable. Then nobody will pay attention to it because you can just slap her in the face and say, "Are you still alive?" Oh my God! I guess you're still alive, but it's okay because you're wearing a wife beater tank top.
Now
nobody will pay attention to it.
I think the reason you can't feel pain on the other side is because you don't have a body with you. You're just consciousness, so it's kind of hard to hurt consciousness, you know.
Oh, so yeah, exactly. So it's like they must be still alive. Like you're alive, I guess.
Hey, since we got Eileen on, this article also has the myth and fact of resurrection. I want to see what you think of this.
Okay.
This first one says the myth. The resurrection is reuniting of the soul with the body. So that's myth. Then the fact, according to this, is the Bible teaches the soul is the entire person, not some part that survived death. A person who is resurrected is not reunited with the soul. He is recreated as a living soul. Is that a fact or myth? Is that?
I don't know. I've never looked at it that way. In the research I've done, which is through PMH Atwater's work, because she's done the 40 years of interviews, it's like the consciousness was the program in the computer, and you spilled coffee on your keyboard and your computer stopped working, so the program left the physical pieces of the computer and went back to the programmer, whoever programmed the consciousness. And until you fix the keyboard and reboot the computer, the program can't go back in and start thinking through the computer, which would kind of make the body like an avatar that's very disposable, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the second myth is some people are resurrected and then immediately destroyed. That's a myth. Now, the fact this is saying is the Bible says that those who practice vile things will receive a resurrection of judgment. However, this judgment is based on what they do after they are resurrected, not before.
Shoot.
Jesus said the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who have paid attention will live. Those who pay attention to or obey the things they've learned after they are resurrected will have their names recorded.
Well, this sounds like some guy or woman who thinks they know what happens after death. And we can only guess and listen to people who have died and come back. Like, does anybody really know what God is and what God does to a soul when a soul departs a body on earth? It's like, who really knows that for sure? I never believed anybody ever.
Because we could be dead now. We could be dead, and now we're just being judged for a short period of time. See what we'll do with all these weird trials we're going to have right now.
Yeah.
We're being judged.
That's interesting. That these trials, we're all in hell, and these trials we're going through are part of our judgment to see how we handle it. That's an interesting theory.
Now, this one is just the last.
Stuff in the backpack and wandering and helping people.
Yeah, this was the last myth. The last myth in the story. It says myth. When resurrected, a person receives exactly the same body that he had before he died. Then it says fact. After death, a person's body would likely have broken down as disintegrated. Now, I'm kind of like you. How would this person even know what's true, a fact, and a myth? So who gives this person to say what I'm putting is actual fact? How does he know?
I mean, I don't even consider my information facts. I don't even believe myself. I'm like, okay, I know what I saw, but that's all I can tell you. I don't know if it was real or not, Yeah.
I mean, I've had death experiences, and it's usually I'm in my own urine and my own filth, right? With somebody yelling at me the next day. So I'm waking right back up. I know I died. I wake up, I'm seeing my own shit and piss. There's nothing beautiful about it. I usually have a nasty headache or whatever happened or whatever that one moment was where it happened was still present, as in it still sucks. So you just get up and, hey, I'm alive. I'm in my own nasties. But there's nothing beautiful there other than your own life in front of you again. So you
but
just
did
don't
you
make
jump into another timeline? Did you die in one version of you? And in the multiple dimensional world, jump into a new version of you?
Beautiful. No, there's nothing but you just wake up with your own filth, whatever the situation you're in, and you just had a second chance. It just didn't happen that time. You're like, oh, the bullet missed me, knowing that you would have been dead. Like having something directly behind you, knowing that was me. I died. However, for some reason, I didn't. Like regurgitate, like if you dream.
How do you know you didn't die? You could have died. You could have died and woken up in a multiple dimensional timeline version of yourself.
Yeah, so I always have to see it as I made a mistake right there. That one movement was wrong. Next time I won't do it. Next time I'm not looking for no beautiful, maybe dancing girls, but I doubt it when I get there. I don't want no pillars. I want to be able to smoke a cigarette and drink a beer. So heaven is still there. But as I live my life, I'm going to try to make it heaven until I get there. I don't see it as anything.
Why not? Yeah. Why not live heaven on earth instead of waiting to go to heaven? What a great way to do that. Because everybody who comes back, they tell their version of heaven is what they love in life on earth. That's what they get to experience afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, you're dead. Why? It sucks. You want to live. So people with the near deathers, some people are like, I wish I could have. No, you came back. You came back, you OD'd, you took drugs, whatever happened, now you're doing better for yourself. You're not making the mistakes. Bird falls out of a tree, you put the damn bird back. Somebody needs a fucking 5 cents, you got 5 cents, you give them 5 fucking cents.
Yeah, but everybody, Robert, who has an NDE, 99% of them come back and become better people. That you're part of the statistics that you just do it better, you know?
Do it better. You do it better than you did last time. I mean, I'm not talking like be like king of Wall Street. No. But if you were in your business and it was doing good for other people, then you work harder at that business. Does that mean you go back to work and be a slave? No, you go back to work and be free.
What if you don't like this timeline and you want to go back to the other timeline?
How can you go back to the timeline? You died there, so you sucked there. You got the second chance.
Cynthia Sue Larson's book on quantum jumping, Eric. Cynthia Sue Larson tells you how to jump into whatever timeline you want by saying, I now wish to go into the best possible version of me with my family. Like, you don't want to just jump on your own and wind up in a good version for yourself, but maybe it wasn't so good for your wife or kids, right?
Yeah, it's true. Like, I think it was like, Eric, also like, you're in a situation, you're in a learning situation. So when there's a crowd of people, you want to be the first one there to kick everyone's ass, and you start punching the big guy first just to start the fucking fight. But then next time around, you get your ass kicked. So now you know not to do stupid things like that. Let's not fight. Because last time I got my ass beat and killed. So this time we're all going to have conversations. And you're bettering everybody else by improving for where you failed. People that have died, you just failed. You failed. You should have made that turn, that right turn, that left turn, but you didn't die from it. You came back, whatever God said. So now you have a second chance to do better.
So is Earth a school? Is it a school for soul evolution?
Yeah. It's a school, it's a learning curve. And if you do well, you get favored by the gods. God, whatever, you get favored. Because now you've turned your tides and you're helping other people and you're doing better. You're not being poor. Fuck that. But you're doing better for other people. And then I see apples in your basket. There are more apples from, more favoritism from the gods.
That's law of attraction. That's psychology. If you have a positive outlook, you attract positive people. So you think the world is positive. If you have a negative outlook, you attract negative people to you, and you think the world is negative. And that's like law of attraction. You do what good, you love, you forgive, you enjoy, you praise, you whatever, and you attract that back to you. But if you do bad and abuse and hurt and harm, you attract that back to you.
Yeah. And it's dangerous because we don't know what bad is. A lot of people don't know what bad is because it seems good to them. So what is bad?
That's a good point.
You know when it's bad is when you fucking get hurt or you get killed. Oh, that was bad. Oh, you've done that. Fuck, I thought it was crack was cool. There's
a theory that anybody who commits murder is psychologically damaged, and therefore they can't be held responsible for their actions. To be able to commit murder or rape or child abuse, you have to be pretty messed up. That's not a norm. There is that theory.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be that person to make that mistake. But if you get a second chance, just, prevent it from next time. Just don't let it happen again. You got a second chance. Like soon as my biggest thing was like the people in prison right now. There are people in prison right now that have the Mandela effect. Imagine their life. They have the Mandela effect. God woke them up, and now they're stuck in prison. So I feel bad. I always try to speak for the little people too that are in jails. They made mistakes. Some of them might have been murdered, but it wasn't their fault. She was being raped by her father. He came in the room. She was done with it. She took him out. So now she's in prison. Yeah. And she has the Mandela effect because she didn't do anything wrong.
Human judgment is extremely flawed, much more so than universal judgment. And those who die and go over to the other side, they say that most of them say they had to judge themselves, and they're very harsh on their own behavior. Most are not judged by God or a panel of 12, light beings. Most self-judge themselves, and then they come back into their life, and like you, they try to do it better.
Feel better, yeah. Well, I mean, because there's God. I believe in God, and I know God knows bad. God knows you. You know bad. If you know bad, then God's not going to help you out. It's like I go to my dad. I used to lie to my dad. I can't lie to my dad. Eric and I could never lie to our dad. You can't lie to him because he knows the truth no matter what you say. So like we can't even make a face for a lie. And if you do a lie, he's like making a white one and then talk around the subject. Just don't blatantly lie to me. Change the subject if you want to. But just don't lie. And so God could be like that. He's like you could whatever you want, but you can't lie to him. Yeah. If you took someone's life out of pure happiness, it didn't bother you. Well, you're gonna meet him. Why did you do it? If you took them things or you stole that car, why did you do it? I mean, there's a kid being silly with friends over somebody who really was malice and stole that car from that guy who didn't deserve it. There's the good and it's kind of bad. I don't say Catholic Church, you used to be able to go there and do your whatevers, but you can't do that anymore.
Well, they do say we're our own worst judge. We criticize ourselves more than others. So if this is a school and this is heaven and hell right here, right now, it's like how you react to everything determines where you go next. Where are you going to go next?
Yeah.
You're going to come back here and do it again, or are you going to move on and try it somewhere else?
Well, they used to go to the church. They had, I'm not sure they're Catholic, but they used to be able to walk in the church and you can do confession with a good-hearted person. Good luck with that. But you have that option. But right now with the corona, they've shut all the churches. I can't see people even going in the churches nowadays. They can't even go to confession. Yeah, but
there's a difference. It's all based on intention. If like a thief, a corporate thief, a guy who runs a corporation that rips everybody off at all times, goes to confession every week, and he has no true intention and says, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," he doesn't receive redemption. It's all based on true intention of the heart. You have to really be sorry, and then chances are you're not going to do it again next week if you're really sorry, right?
If you're really sorry, you're not going to do it again. And then you just keep living. You won't die. You keep living. That one little turn you made it this time. You're going out and you're not going to get hit by that bullet. You're not going to get hit by that car. You're going to have good karma because you corrected yourself. That's kind of how I see it too. But
there's a lot of fakers who ask for salvation and redemption who don't give a damn whether they deserve it, or they'll say, "I'll get it again next week. Because the church, the Catholic Church, has taught you that if you go to confession every Friday, you'll be saved every Friday."
Yeah, no. It used to be the church was a salvation place for people to go hide. Criminals used to be able to go in the Catholic Church, and cops couldn't go in and get you. They couldn't get you.
What's that called? Hunchback of Notre Dame. What's it called, guys? It's not amnesty.
You could.
It's not salvation.
It's kind of amnesty. I forgot what it's called though. You get there's a name for it. On the side. I put it in there, but you'd be able to go. There's monks that would serve 30 years because they didn't want to go to get hung by the prince or the king or the town marshal. They didn't want to get killed, so they became monks. Within the church, Catholic Church, they couldn't be touched. So they were.
Somebody in the chat's going to remember what that's called. When you used to be able to. Can you walk into a church now and declare that? No. Heck no.
Hell no.
No.
Check this out, dude.
What's that say? I'm on my phone.
This is.
You
guys know the Vatican, right? You know the Vatican?
I do, unfortunately. Not personally.
This is the incense. It's here in England. And it's at this abbey right here in England. And they supply the incense for the Pope. This is the stuff.
What's it smell like?
This is the stuff the Pope smells. It's in this place.
What does it smell like? Come on, tell us. Burn it. Start it up.
I got a box for Eric. Oh, it's lit up now. Shit, I got it smoking the whole place up.
What's it smell like?
Smoking T-shirt wrote Asylum. Is that what it's called?
Asylum. It's like Asylum.
Thank you. Seek Asylum.
Is it Asylum?
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. It is Asylum. It's called Sanctuary. Yes.
Sanctuary.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, right?
The church, actually, the Catholic Church had their own army. They literally had an army, like we would say, like the French Foreign Legion. And all these
The Jesuits
in.
are the army of God. The Jesuits are the army. That's what it means. They're Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, they became mercenaries / whatever for the Catholic. They turned evil over time, but yeah, that's where they came from. That's where
they were the army.
He's the Black Pope. He's the Jesuit Pope. Jesuits were walk-ins to the church. They were criminals. Then they're seeking asylum. Then they became warriors of the church.
Yeah, and the Knights Templars, who became the world's first bankers. How is that interesting? They were the first international bankers, and they were the Knights of God, the Knights Templars. Yeah. And they took the pilgrims' money in Europe on the Crusades and said, we'll protect it for you, and we'll give it to you on the other end when you reach the Holy Land. Ha, ha, ha. And if you don't reach the Holy Land, we'll keep it. The Holy Land, we'll keep it, not return it to your family. So how many pilgrims do you think survived to get to the Holy Land if they'd already given all their gold to the Knights Templars? Not many.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they worked for the Pope, specifically for the Pope. So Knights Templars didn't really do that. They didn't actually help people across. They actually were archaeologists. They went there and looked for all the artifacts from Israel, everything they dug. They were their first archaeologists. And then they got all the artifacts and took them back to the Pope.
Yeah, don't you think that they then took it to Scotland? And is it true they took it to Nova Scotia with that TV show on History Channel, Oak Island? Did they bury it in Oak Island?
They spread it around because that's where you get your guilds nowadays, from the Catholic Church. Originally, the what you call, like the walk-ins, the asylum seeker. You could be a master banker and go into the bank and get asylum and put on a monk's uniform, and now you work for the church as a banker.
I heard that's how they founded America, Robert, was with the stolen Knights Templar treasure from the Temple of Solomon, and that Captain Kidd was an aristocrat in Scotland, and he became a famous pirate. And he kept attacking all the British and Spanish and French galleons. Yeah. And then he would give all that money to the founders of America to found this country. So we were founded on pirate booty. And then he came back to, I think, Boston, and he thought he was going to be celebrated, and they hanged him. They said, right, we got our pirate, nothing that we did, and he was dead.
Yeah, he's a buccaneer, a profiteer. They were legal. You could legally go out and get anybody you wanted out there as a privateer.
So if we were founded by pirates stealing, it's in the nature of the American government to keep doing that. There's no pirates today, they just take from the American people.
They take from the American people. I know, that sucks. They're the new privateers. The new privateers are the pyramid program people. Back in the 80s. They had the pyramid program, and everybody was doing it. Everybody was doing the pyramid program. Yeah. So I looked around, and this is a Mandela effect for me because it was done and laughed at back home. But in this place, everything's a fucking pyramid program. So you go on the internet and you do merchandise, you do merch, or you go and you sell things on the internet, and you buy it straight from China. And then it goes to another distributor. Your name is on it, and then your name. Pretty much everyone's doing the pyramid again with all the merch on YouTube's. Yeah, it's the same program. I was like, hey, it's the pyramid program. It actually doing it.
It's never left.
It never left. It's over in this place. It's like tenfold because it kind of died out back home. No one's like, I didn't play that pyramid. I
just found the loopholes to legalize it.
Don't you guys feel like that system's crashing and crumbling now, which is why we've all been forced inside? Don't you see this as kind of some kind of a knee-jerk reaction to the fear of the power mongers losing their power now? Because so many people are waking up.
No, we have a whole different thing on it. Eric, I have a whole different thing on it. It's not secret, but we'll tell you guys. We'll tell you the truth. Eric, remember, Eric? What happens after 9 months, Eric, of lockdown?
What happens after 9 months?
Yeah.
Babies. Populating babies. It happens. Any tragedy where people got to stay in a building or whatever, where you're close with your loved one or somebody, 9 months later, there's a big population of babies that are born.
Babies.
Look at the tragedies in New Orleans. When the or the ocean thing, 9-10 months later, there was a high percentage of babies being born because what are you going to do when you can't do anything?
Yeah.
Nature takes over.
Wow, that is so true. That is so true. The blackout in New York City and stuff like that. We're going to get a new baby boom generation.
Yeah.
Baby boom. So we're going to ask ourselves this question. Forget all the virus. That's all lies. You guys look through the lies. So anyway, go through the lies. Now we're looking at a baby boom. Let's discuss this in this comic book. Now, we know the reason for the virus is because of babies. So now that we have all these babies, what are they going to use the babies for? Now, are we just having a baby boom for an industrial revolution? Are we having a baby boom because the aliens want to eat our babies? Or are we going to have
you know how you said David Icke is like a shill? So he's perfect controlled opposition. He gives you 50% truth and 50% BS. This whole reptilian alien thing, really, if you read Robert Saffer's work, he's a historical archaeologist, and it's called 1666 Redemption Through Sin. And all these books will show you that the reptilian aliens are really human bankers, and they're very, very close about their bloodline. They do not breed outside. So they've got a lot of genetic diseases like porphyria, right? So what are the symptoms of porphyria? It's dry skin like scales. It's long teeth because the gums recede. The ears disappear. They recede. Like, Eric, pull up a picture of Rothschild, the eldest Rothschild. And that guy looks like a snake because he's been so inbred with porphyria that you become reptilian-like. So they're humans. They're humans that are genetically diseased. They're their own DNA bloodline now, and they're not aliens, really. They're human.
No, they're inbred.
For thousands of years.
You said it in a very nice way, by the way. Thank you. You said it in a very nice way. Inbred, she's saying. She said it in a very scientifically put together way for you people to understand. She's saying,
and I'm not putting down people with porphyria because other people can have porphyria now without doing what the bankers do, keeping their bloodline pure.
Let me tell you my theory on why the baby boom brings our economy back. Okay, this is how you fix a lot of the economy, right? So you create this virus. Hold on. You create this virus, right, Bob? You create this virus to affect more of the elder people versus young people. What you do is you kill off the elder people, right? You kill off all the Social Security money you have to pay, all that 401k stuff you have to pay. But then 9 months later, when you have this big baby boom, what do? You create a Social Security card for a baby, which the government can create money for that baby in the banks. So you kill off, you save this much money. At the end, you create brand new money for all the new babies that are born.
Well, to prove what you're saying could be true, the average age of death in Italy is 81. 99% had multiple diseases. And if you take the flu shot, you're 36% more likely to get and die from coronavirus. But who takes the flu shot? The elderly. The elderly get that.
And the elderly they're sitting, they're taking up space and over there in that beautiful country there. So let's kill them. The young people make babies, then we have a lot of babies. And each baby is worth at the minimum $7 million American, if you want to put it into the Federal Reserve private banking system. Each human is worth several $1 million. And they've already put investments on you as a baby. So if
you put that baby to work for 65, 70 years in the system.
$1 million, and so they're already investing in this baby. They've already borrowed the money from that baby, borrowed the money from your baby, and they're already investing in it because it belongs to the baby. So each child is worth several $1 million. We're talking about boom.
That makes perfect sense, you guys. That makes perfect sense.
Because people are living longer, and that's hurting the economy, government. So what do we do? We gotta fix it now. Let's kill all of them off.
Yes, this makes perfect sense. You know, I mean, it's logical and it's good for the economy, right? To be,
but diaper sales go up.
Because what
Everyone's
killed,
happy.
what killed companies in the past? What killed companies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Pensions has killed companies.
Oh, yes.
They were
Oh,
getting
yeah.
more money out versus money coming in.
Yes, more to the retired than the worker bees. Yeah.
When you retire, it hurts the government because you're paying out so much, not receiving nothing in. So you kill them off.
Okay.
New money.
The only thing is, this is a human system and a human plan, and it's working. I do not think aliens out there from higher dimensions with the intelligence to move through dimensions are like, let's just get rid of the old people on this planet. This is a human thing. This is a human problem that can only be solved by human beings. Nobody's coming down to save us. We gotta save ourselves.
It's all about money.
Smell that freaking greenback, baby. That's a babies. We're talking rolling the babies, pimping the babies for money.
Yep.
Millions of
Interesting.
them. And the European Union pulled everybody out of every fucking country we tore up in the fucking wars and brought them up to Europe, brought them to the United States, flooded them in England so they can have babies.
Yeah.
The babies.
Basically, government creates a bomb for each baby that is born.
Babies. Yes,
well,
babies.
Guys,
babies.
This is an interesting place to be. This is an interesting world, whether it's flat or round, I don't care. It's a fascinating place, but it's very frustrating when you want to make it better. And you're like, I can't make it better. I cannot fix this place called Earth. There aren't enough of us yet to really, I don't know, I don't want to be negative. Maybe someday this planet will be working in cooperation and compassion and everything will be fine. You know, maybe that's God, the next stage.
Just have faith in God. I'm a God guy now. I used to be an atheist. I fucking know God now. I'm insane. So, of course, I know God. So, I know God, and God's going to fix everything. I'm not going to say he's going to do it himself, but it takes a little bit of help from other people. But I still think they're moving positive. I think God's
but if God works through us and we're part of God, we got to fix it. We are the part of God that's going to fix it here. You know?
Yeah. Why would God fix it when God let it happen in the first place?
God didn't let it happen. God gave this beautiful place called Earth, and our intelligence grew and grew and grew, and we screwed it up. Now God is kind enough to let us fix it. God didn't screw it up. We did. It's not God's fault what we do. That's a bad religious misnomer that says if God was good, how could humans do bad acts? You know? So I don't know. I think we can fix this. I'm not sure about in my lifetime. I hope him,
sure,
you know.
You're contributing now. You're helping. You're doing what you can do right now. You got a voice. You've got a presence.
True, we got cut off. I was on with Sue So's channel and Cynthia Sue Larson, and then people. Nachikita was in there. People from all over the world were in there, and we were talking about the true facts of the coronavirus, and YouTube pulled the plug on us and won't let him go live again. So if you talk extreme, YouTube will leave it on. But if you talk practical and factual, they shut you off. They pull the plug. They shut down our stream. You know?
Because I can see like a disabled vet. He's got both his legs are gone. He does as best he can. He's got all these problems. He can't really get out. So now he's stuck in front of a freaking computer screen like this. He's got nothing. But now that son of a bitch that knows how to do the computer, just sitting there with his legs gone, can contribute. He can go online. This is the new protest with the signs. There's nobody in the streets no more. They're on the internet doing it.
Yes.
So no matter what your disability is, no matter what your problem is, no matter how you look, how you sound, you could come out now on the internet and do it.
True.
Plus we'll have
very, very true.
Well, if you don't want to get taken down, just don't title your show with the virus in it, and then you can get away with it more.
Well, our show was titled Friends Getting Together on a Sunday, and it was all these people in different countries talking about the coronavirus. And after an hour, we were going to do a 2-hour show. YouTube pulled the plug because too many facts were being presented, like people who get the flu shot are more likely to get the coronavirus. The people in Italy, the average age is 81. You know, and yet, Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal are putting out these stories to make stockbrokers and investors feel safe, while mainstream media puts out the opposite story that says, lock yourself in, don't go outside. If you breathe the air outside of your house, you're going to die.
Buy condoms. Do not buy condoms.
You can't get. Yeah, I wonder if they had a condom shortage.
Stay in your rooms. Nobody come outside. Stay inside.
Let me do a
Don't go
shout out
anywhere.
real quick to System
Babies.
Failure. A little shout out for System Failure. I want to apologize. I was supposed to have a show yesterday, but some things came up that I got busy all day that I couldn't do a show yesterday. So I apologize to System Failure. And Bob, I know you were waiting for the show, but some things came up that I couldn't do one yesterday.
I feel bad.
But we can see you tomorrow. We can see you tomorrow on Charlie's channel.
Tomorrow we have the show the same time tomorrow, 11. It's going to be very cool because I got the Matrix brothers that I call them. A guy named Synergetic Red, and Matrix Unveiled, and it's going to be good because Bob, I know you've never seen this guest before. Red. This guy can talk. This guy can talk fast.
I can't wait.
Actually, it's funny that I was in their chat. System Failure is here. I was like, you can make a drinking game if you get Synergetic Red and System Failure on the same show, talk to each other. Every time you take a breath, you take a shot of whiskey, and you will be fucked up.
So it's
going to be a very high energy show tomorrow.
I'll be watching.
Because every time they're on, weird.
I'll get some drinks.
Does happen. Bob will tell you that weird things.
Now the young people, man, the young people. These are the youth. They're kicking in here and throwing conspiracy things around, having a great time. So we got to get the youth in here too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna watch 2 shows tomorrow. You tomorrow at 11, and then where do we go tomorrow night? And you guys are going to be on Charlie's.
He's called 4BC Truth, and then let me find his channel here, and I'll put it right here in the chat. Let me get his channel so everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, the guys for
I'll find it.
And in the meantime, Bob, we went back to coronavirus, even though we were all trying to stick to near death the whole show. We just couldn't do it. It's so hard.
Don't use the word. I tell people, I'm going to teach people how to talk. Don't use the word coronavirus. We don't say his name. We don't say his name. We don't say
Voldemort. Yes.
So remember, you guys, don't say Voldemort's name when you're having these conversations. You'll get your shit shut down. There's another name for it. We talk about comic books because this is not real. It's like a comic book only. This is for entertainment. Nothing we say is relevant.
Oh yeah, you guys. Do you guys know that your channel is listed for children, so nobody can get a notification bell?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Your channel is permanently listed for children, so I can't hit the bell and get a notification when you're on.
No way.
I didn't know that.
Yes way. So you got to go into YouTube Studio, and you have to click my channel is not.
Yeah. I'll do that. Let me just let me put it.
He did. We made sure that we had a person that we weren't sure what this age was, and this person came out and lied about their age, and Eric's like, no, this person's lying about their age, man. Yeah. So Eric made sure he had restriction shit all set up perfectly, and a lot of things he was 18 and over.
Let me go to my let me check. Let me see what she's telling.
Yeah, I can't get a bell. I tried, but it said your channel is made for children. All videos are made for children.
Let me see what happened. Okay,
you're being set up.
Maybe it's because of your thumbnails. Your thumbnails look like comic books, right? Maybe they think that's why.
Okay, so I'm in the studio, and where should I go to find that? Settings?
Yes.
Let me check my settings.
Is there anybody techie in the room who can talk you through it? I'm a terrible tech person. I'm not a tech person.
Here's permission. Here's my channel.
Oh.
And settings.
You can make each video.
Right now, it says, do you want to set up your channel that's made for kids? It says, no. Set this channel as not made for kids. So it's set up right now as
it's set up for not for kids.
Not set up for kids. So how's it saying children for you?
I can't get a bell. I've subscribed and it let me subscribe, and every time I hit the bell, it says no because this channel is set up for children. You may not have a notification bell.
They're keeping your subs down.
Look,
they got you rigged on the inside, dude.
Here, if you look
You
at
got
it,
the rig on the inside.
it says, no, set this channel as not made for kids. That's what's set up right now.
Listen, now,
Well, you need to get on somebody else's phone and try to sub to yourself and see if it pops up like mine. They're just keeping me from you, maybe. Maybe everybody else can get a bell. I can't get a bell. Maybe it's because of your icons and your thumbnails look like comic books. Maybe they've done it for you.
Man, a body that's interesting. I'm glad you told me this.
Yeah, I can't get a bell. I just have to remember the days you're on.
I've said that when Bob comes on, when he does a show, I never get a bell for Bob's show either.
No. You guys are bellless.
My subs are locked at guess what?
Now, here, according music, it says my bell is marked now, Eric. No, he said his bell is marked.
1,103. I'm 1,103. It's been that way for a long time.
Well, you guys, I can't get your bell. So I don't know if everybody can't get your bell. I have no clue.
You can't get my bell at all?
I'm going to try, Robert. When I get off, I'm going to try for your bell, and then I'll try again for Eric's. But a little sign in black and gray comes up at the bottom that says, channels made for children, you cannot receive a notification bell.
Like he said, I should make all individual videos for children, but all my settings is automatically set not for children. I don't even have to put the mark because it automatically marks it for me because I picked not for kids. So that's
but then maybe the bot sees your thumbnails and thinks the thumbnails are childlike.
Now, see, JoJo says I get notifications and I have the bell. So JoJo's is getting it.
Is it because I'm a new sub? I'm new. I'm a new sub. So is it because I can't get it because I'm new?
That's a good question.
Eric, all I want to see is I want to see Eileen have her bells. I want her to have her bells.
I've been talking to the guy that liked God Sea Warrior. We're talking about we're having the same issues. Like one time I'll look at my sub count right. All of a sudden I'll lose 7. I do the same thing. And it's like, what happened? You don't lose 7 just like that.
I'll gain 20 and lose 20. I have way less subs than you, Eric. And I got been on since 2016. Again, mine's at 1,103. And it stays there.
Hey, like JoJo says, I've been with Eric since the beginning almost.
Okay, I'm going in now. I'm going for the bell, guys. Are you ready? I got Gypsy Road Live.
What does my bell look like?
I'm subscribed, and it's got a bell with a cross around it, 1/ across it. And when I hit it, this action is turned off for the content made for children. Learn more. Sorry, guys.
And you're touching my bell right now.
Yes, I'm hitting the bell right now.
Are you under the bell or are you just around the bell?
I'm on the bell. I'm on the bell. And this is what I get. Are you ready?
Okay, hit the bell. How does that bell feel to you?
That is strange because I don't know how to change it. I've been with Robert for almost 3 years, so he gets the bell. And look, hey Bob, she's frozen too.
You know what? She touched her bell.
Oh, now Matthew's saying try to unsubscribe, then resubscribe.
Reach under the bell and go like this. Eileen, if you're watching me, go like this under the bell. Put it under our bell like this, and then touch it. Move your fingers like this under the bell on the computer screen, and then touch it.
Yeah, because there's nothing that.
Who said that? I just unsubscribed to you, and then I just subscribed and I hit my bell and it let it through. But for the last 2 weeks, it's been saying your content's made for children.
Yeah, that's what this person's saying. Eileen needs to unsub and resub. So a lot of people are saying that works. Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe one show got accidentally set to children and it got moved back, but somehow maybe yours was stuck in that timeline.
It's because we're talking about babies next year. And after 9 months. 9 months, pregnancy, 9 months, and then babies.
Hey, people need to look that up. We're not lying. Look at the last tragedy that happened in Tennessee. There was like a big tragedy long while back. They had a big tornado, and these people were staying at a church. There was like thousands of people had to stay at this church. and then 9 months later, 40% of baby population was being born because of that church.
And the CV is attacking the old people. Just read the Bloomberg report on the age of the deaths of CV. It's the old people. So you're spot on.
Bob, I got to get your channel. Somebody's asking for your channel.
Asking for my candle?
Channel. Someone's asking for your channel, so I'm putting your channel in the link real quick.
Put it in there.
And if you guys can't get a bell, do what? Who said that? He said unsubscribe and subscribe.
Jojo?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jojo.
Make sure you hit my bell. Make sure you guys get a good grip on my bell and hold on to it. And
what, you only got one bell? Robert.
One bell. But with Eric, we have two bells. Together, we have two bells.
Together, you have two bells.
And you have been gracious enough to hit our bells.
I do. I've got Eric's bell now. I'm going to hit yours next as soon as we're off.
Yeah, I'm putting. Oh, I think somebody just put Bob's in there already.
Hit that bell. I'm Eric. And vote for him for president of the United States.
Jojo, put your link in there too.
Oh,
I've been subscribing to everybody in the chat room here. I'm like, I'm going to just sub to everybody here. That's what I'm going to do.
It's the easiest thing to do. And then it's a lot of bells. It's a whole lot of bells to go through, though.
That's a lot of bells, guys.
And here.
That's a lot of bells, guys. Come on.
Let me put Eileen's in there, too.
I got a little channel. I think we're about the same size. I got 2,300. I got 2,000 in 2 years. In my third year, I got 300.
Hit Eileen's bell. Hit her bell. Hit her bell.
Hit my bell.
Eric wants his bell hit, so hit that bell.
All right, there's Eileen's.
Thank you.
Here we go. Cool. We got this thing set up. We hooking each other up. So you got a job to do.
Well, like me, like me and Joe, or me and the C-Ware was talking about, like, somehow YouTube is up-subbing, so sometimes you got to go back and resub people. I mean, I know. Like I had Voynich before, but remember yesterday on Tuesday on the show, I went to get his video. I was unsubbed from him, and I never physically unsubbed from him.
No.
I get those people that are subbing me, and I go, wait a minute, you subbed me 3 years ago. This person's just subbed me. I have one person that we make a joke out of it. This person has to always resub. It's like it's picked as this person's picked as one of the people that get kicked off every so often to get mine back to a number. Like it rounds it to a certain numerical value, and so to kick this one subber off all the time from Australia, and I'm like, welcome to my show again. Thank you for the sub. I always make sure I say thank you for the sub again.
I do a shout out to people like JoJo, Padioxin Oxide, Flat Accord Music, PG2424, Captain Bacon, because there's so many shows that are going on right now. There's Matthew, and being first choice to watch versus another show that's being live at the same time. I appreciate that. That's very cool.
When you're easy to remember. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, 11 Pacific time. You've got a routine so we can remember it. Yeah, you got a schedule.
It's a regular routine. It's just because Bob lives in Manchester. I live here. It's like the only time that we can both do it while we're still both awake.
You guys are good together. I think you're probably better together than apart because you each add kind of a different personality and perspective to every topic.
Well, we'll be making movies pretty soon. I'm getting back there in about 3 weeks. And so Eric and I, just for a short time, but Eric and I are going to make a whole regular videos. Like regular,
cool.
So we're going to go out on the street and do regular videos.
I got some new equipment.
Cool.
We are going to be making
the lamb? Where's the lion and the lamb? Where's the lion?
Awesome.
And the, why is everyone wearing Saint fucking
and
Saint whatever it is?
And this time, instead of people are saying free music, then when they're not free, where the movie can't be played, Flat Accord Music is going to be helping us out with some music for it. So
that's cool.
Copyright it. It'll actually, because our first video that Bob made were banned in few areas, not because of our video content, but the music that we put on there said it was free.
Yeah,
no, it was free in the United States, but
in
other countries they don't tell you.
No.
So we're going to do this one right. We're going to do this one correct.
Are you going to stay in Manchester, Bob, or are you moving back to America?
I'm kind of bouncing around again. I'm a backpack person now. I have places that people that like
come
me.
back because of visa, but usually Bob goes back when he's allowed to go back. You can only be in the country for like 6 months, then you have to come back for 6 weeks, and then you're allowed to bounce back.
Okay.
I love it overseas. I love America, like the back. I love my old America, but this whole new. I like to go see what it really looks like. Everyone's going. Google Maps said this. I'm like with binos. I don't know. Google Maps full of shit. Just trying to see the.
We got to send you to the Antarctic. I want to see what the Antarctic really looks like. Come on, Robert. Get your butt up down to the Antarctic.
But there is a problem about having Bob here. There is a physical damaging problem, right?
What?
Before Bob came, I was on a good diet, got down at a good weight.
Yeah.
Bob loves his breakfast. He loves
my
his breakfast. All that weight loss that I did, I gained it back with that bastard.
Oh. Come on, you can say no. You can say no to the bacon and the eggs.
Biscuits, bitch.
So good.
Biscuits.
It's an actual place.
Actually, when Bob comes back. Actually, Bob's coming back one of the worst times because we can't go to restaurants.
Yeah.
Biscuits, bitch. It's
Bob, no, seriously. I was telling you, I needed Bob. Remember, I showed you my monitor screen is cracked somehow.
Yes.
So I got another screen. So I need an RGA. I need a VGA HDMI adapter. So Best Buy was open. So I went to Best Buy. No, they're open only for you to park in the parking lot. They come to your car. They write down on what you need and to go in there and find it. And so I'm like, no. You're going to find me the most expensive part there is. If I can't go in, forget about it. I'll leave.
Yeah, until the stores are open. Trump's saying that everything's back to normal April 15th, and Italy's back to work the first week of April. So I think they've decided that enough babies have been made. So it's back to work, guys.
Seriously, yeah, that's what it is.
Babies are done. The babies are made. The elites are like, ha 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 ha.
The buns are in the oven.
We are gonna end the show because I do got to go somewhere. I got to continue with my stupid physical therapy appointment because of the rip muscle here from Bob. His ghost, he caused an alien to visit me at night. But guys, tomorrow, jump tomorrow because I got a guy, Sagenic Red, you guys never seen before on the show. He's very awesome. 2 20-year-old kids that they're just so open-minded to the world that it's fantastic to see young people this open-minded. The show tomorrow is called Romancing the Matrix because crystals that one guy, he collects crystals, and we're going to talk about the magic of the crystals within the Matrix. So that's part of the
hell yes.
So please, everybody, please join us tomorrow. Sub Eileen's channel, sub Robert's channel, sub 4B's Truth channel, on his channel tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. If Bob is awake early in the morning, hopefully, Bob, you can jump on that show because he wants you to jump on too. But he doesn't know.
I'm ready.
So if you can, it's going to be a sweet show. And then that's it, guys. I guess we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Awesome. Love you guys.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye. Peace.